Part 78. After having everything taken away, she returns as a god. Author, Qing Qian. Chapter 772. Tsukimi has never been a kind person. Everyone on the top of the clouds is. And because they have been walking in darkness all year round, they all have their own paranoid and dark side. It's just that I don't usually show it in particular. Sometimes fighting among divisions is just a way to vent their anger. Especially spiritually powerful evolvers like Yujian and Sci-fi. Once their spirit breaks down, it will cause horrific or even irreparable consequences. Even if they are both S-level evolvers, a strong inner court expert like Yujian who graduated from Eternal Academy and has been trained by the Cloud Summit is far beyond what Yin Yongzi can compare with. She just glanced at Yin Yongzi and activated her mental power to know what Yin Yongzi was thinking. At the same time, Yujian could also feel Yin Yongzi's emotions. Jealousy, unwillingness, anger, are all negative and malicious. This negative malice also successfully aroused all the suppressed darkness in Yujian's bones. Wants Xiaoqing to die, Tan Jingmo's eyes slowly tightened. Does she have such ability? Yujian sneered lightly, this is often the case for people who have no ability. Tan Jingmo hummed lightly, okay, let's have a temporary truce. Yujian crossed his arms and said, you come in, I'll hit you. Tan Jingmo glanced at her, snorted slightly, and stepped forward slowly. At this moment, Yin Yongzi didn't know that two very terrifying people were targeting her. Instead of helping the rescuers, she wandered around bored. Even if she went to rescue, she would only rescue ordinary athletes and not be able to bring her any help. Why should she bother? Yin Yongzi was thinking like this when she happened to receive a message from the leader of the Evolutionary Alliance asking her to go for treatment. She was going to say hello to Yin Pingsheng and go back early. Before Yin Yongzi could send out the message, the world suddenly spun around and her whole body sank into the ground. Only one head is left exposed. Yin Yongzi was shocked, and she was even more horrified. Who is there? A sneak attack is not something a gentleman would do. After all, she is also an S-level evolver. The purity of her bloodline is here, and her sense of nature is not comparable to that of ordinary evolvers. But she didn't feel anyone approaching her at all. How is this going? Yin Yongzi wanted to struggle out, but the ground seemed to be obeying someone's orders, imprisoning her tightly, making it impossible for her to move. She is not stupid, on the contrary, she also has a deep understanding of evolutionaries. The only ones who can do this are those who control the earth element. Even if it's not the ultimate, it's not far off. But in her impression, she had never offended such a person at all. If she met such a person, it would be too late for her to curry favor with him. Yin Yongzi's face showed uncontrollable horror, and her voice trembled, Your Excellency. I have never offended you. Have you admitted the wrong person? No one answered her. As time passed, Yin Yongzi became more and more panicked. At this moment, the air suddenly fluctuated. What a powerful evolution energy fluctuation! Yin Yongzi's expression changed drastically. She had never encountered such powerful evolution energy fluctuations when she met the leader of the Evolution Alliance. Yin Yongzi didn't even have time to react. Her eyes suddenly fell into darkness, and her whole body was dragged into the depths of the spiritual world. Ah! She let out a shrill scream, lost consciousness, and passed out. Yin Yongzi didn't see it. Tan Jingmo and Yujian had been watching her not far away. Tan Jingmo raised his eyebrows, what did you do? Oh, Yujian yawned and shrugged, you call this method the mental cage. It is an attack method commonly used by spiritual evolvers. The last time I used it on Huo Yangxing, it only made him lose consciousness for less than a second. It seems that the Yin family's mental strength is also very poor. It's hard to imagine that Yin Yongzi is an S-level evolver. Well, keep an eye on it. Xiaoqing will do the rest, Tan Jingmo said lightly, let her play. Yuji unsnapped her fingers. Don't worry, I planted my brand on her, and she is under my surveillance. Oh, Tan Jingmo smiled, as expected of a spiritual evolver, he's really awesome. He rolled up his sleeves again. Now that the matter is settled, come on. Tsukimi. Urgent, is it too late to invite Huo Yangxing as a foreign aide? This way. After Si fucking finished interacting with the fans, she returned to her tent and waited absent-mindedly. After an unknown amount of time, the tent curtain was lifted, and two slender and tall figures walked in. Si fucking immediately raised his head. When she saw a shallow scar on both of their faces, she experienced for the first time what it felt like to be both shocked and heartbroken. How could you slap each other in the face? Face, such the most important thing. These two grown men didn't know how to cherish it. Si fucking felt distressed and took out the medicine from his pocket, and immediately pulled Yuzian to sit down. Quickly, apply the medicine, it will not heal if it leaves a scar. Yunying's cold voice sounded behind her. Yunju. Just wait. Si fucking threw a medicine bottle over. If you can't wait, apply it first. Well, I've become more capable. I want to use this face, but I don't need yours. Even Yunying successfully fell silent after hearing these words. Yuzian coughed lightly. Ching ching, it's a minor injury. It's already a big injury on your face, Si fucking said in a cool voice. If anything happens to your face, I'll find another boyfriend. Yuzian sighed amusedly. He hugged her and pressed her forehead gently. It'll be okay. Yunju, don't show your affection. Yunying had finished applying the medicine, and he looked at her with a calm expression. Don't blame me for showing off your affection again. You can't hit him. Si fucking hid behind Yuzian. Mao Mao poked his head in, and said confidently, I have a boyfriend. Yunying leaned on the chair, tapped the table with his fingers, and smiled. Really, I will ask the third brother and your remaining senior brothers to come together. You should believe that I have the right to speak. Si fucking. She looked at Yuzian eagerly. Brother ninth, can you beat me? Yuzian touched her head. You can try it. Si fucking blinked. Senior brother, if this is not the case, how about we make a compromise and go to the Eternal Continent to fight? Yunying paused after hearing this. He lowered his eyelashes and said in a voice that only he could hear, it's hard to get out, but I don't want to go recently. Si fucking didn't hear it and was startled. Elder brother. Yunying retracted his thoughts and said in a calm voice, in addition, I will watch you carefully during this period and wait until you finish participating in the international games. If there is another accident, you have to believe that I will really take care of you. Si fucking immediately looked at Yuzian. Unexpectedly, Yuzian did not protect her this time. He looked back at her with a slight smile. Ching ching, be obedient. Two equally strong men reached a wonderful agreement on this matter. Finally, he looked at her with the same smile. Si fucking. Why was she the one who got hurt in the end? This unscientific. Si fucking hugged her knees and huddled into a small ball. I'm so good, why don't you believe it? Are you good? Yunying sneered softly, who secretly drank a bottle of 40% white wine and demolished Lao Wu's training room. Who drank the medicinal wine I brewed and blew up my garden. Yuzian's eyes moved slightly. Were you so naughty when you were a child? Si fucking. Her fist hardened. How could she deliberately expose her scandal in front of her boyfriend? Si fucking glanced at Yunying. That's because you can't do it. I can drink now, and I don't know how to tear things apart. Brother ninth said I'm just pretending to be a plant at best. Oh. Yunying narrowed his eyes slightly and locked his gaze on Yuzian. This is strange. Are you catnip? Si fucking felt that this sentence was very wrong. Wait. I am not a cat. It's just that the second child won't let you go so easily. Yunying's voice was light. Counting the time, he will be back too. As soon as he said this, Tan Jingmo and Yujian walked in. Their clothes were stained with dust, but there was no blood. Tan Jingmo's originally casual expression turned from sunny to gloomy when he saw Yu Zion. Si fucking immediately jumped down from the sofa. Second senior brother, does your shoulder hurt? Is it sore? I'll give you a hammer. I'd like to show my courtesy when I have nothing to do. Tan Jingmo glanced at her and said a name, Yin Yungzi. Si fucking narrowed her eyes. What happened to her? Tan Jingmo said lightly, your dear senior sister looked into her heart and saw her inner thoughts. She just packed up and threw her up the mountain. Si fucking immediately hugged Yu Jian's arm and rubbed it. Third senior sister, I knew you were the best to me. Cloud 9. Tan Jingmo's eyes were cold. You'd better know who took care of it. Si fucking, although I can't read people's hearts, I saw that you wanted to hit my boyfriend, so I counteracted it. Tan Jingmo. He smiled coldly, I've vented my anger enough today, I'll settle it tomorrow if I have anything else to do. Then let's go first. Si fucking grabbed Yu Zion's hand, see you tomorrow. No. Tan Jingmo smiled slightly, you are definitely not allowed to sleep in the same room if you are not married yet. This sentence has a certain meaning of gritting one's teeth. Tan Jingmo turned his head, elder brother, do you think so? Yun Ying rubbed the red wine glass and said, yes. Si fucking. In fact, the most they could do was just chat while covered with quilts. The question is, will the brothers believe it if I tell you? In the end, Si fucking could only send Yu Zion out. Instead, Yu Zion rubbed her head and reassured her, it's okay. Si fucking looked up at him, brother ninth, I won't hide this from you now. Actually, I am the 9th disciple of the Cloud Summit. 5 years ago, I died in an explosion. Ching ching, there is no way I can get through this day, it's better to be my sister. See you tomorrow. After having everything taken away, she returns as a god. Author, Qing Qian. Chapter 773. Cloud 9. The 9 disciples of the top of the clouds. Take the surname of the master of the top of the cloud, and add his own ranking. 2 years ago, I woke up suddenly. Si fucking's voice was very soft. It was only a few minutes before I met you that I realized that my time was blank for 3 years. At that time, I would also be afraid. She was still reluctant to mention the explosion 5 years ago. This really caused her a lot of shadow. After all, the moment she was in the flames, she really felt the feeling of death. After waking up again, I went to a completely strange place, and I couldn't contact my brothers and sisters. No one could calm down from the beginning. Now that she and her senior brothers and sisters have also met, she can also say some things. Yu Zion's hand paused. Indeed, there was a moment of surprise. But Si fucking could see that this surprise was not because she said she was the 9th disciple of the Cloud Summit, but because she brought it up at this time. Yu Zion said in a low voice, I'm very happy, Ching Ching. Si fucking raised his eyebrows, and said unhurriedly, eldest senior brother and second senior brother call me Yunju when they get angry, you should have guessed it. With Yu Zion's resourcefulness, he must be able to guess the step. Yeah, Yu Zion smiled lightly, but if you don't tell me, I won't ask. He gently pulled her hair behind her ears. Actually, I already had doubts when Yuan Mingqi entered Fujiyama's house last year. Among the 9 disciples on the top of the cloud, only Yuan Mingqi and Zisu's identities have been fully disclosed to the public. Si fucking's heart trembled slightly, and a sour feeling surged up. She lowered her head and said quickly, thank you. A soft sigh sounded above her head. Afterwards, her face was cupped in both hands, and he looked at her with deep eyes. Ching Ching, you don't need to thank me, we are people who will spend our lives together. Of course he would tolerate her and spoil her. In this world, there is only one Si fucking. Si fucking was startled suddenly. After a while, she murmured in a low voice, you are definitely not in love for the first time. The first time. I do not believe. It's also the first time, how can someone do this? She was completely powerless. The nasty black heart monster attacked her from all sides. Yuzian smiled faintly, I am studying hard. Because it is the first time, because he can't, he will learn. Si fucking hugged his waist and buried his head on his shoulder, then I won't learn, it's up to you. Yuzian rubbed her head, and hummed, so the master of the summit on the cloud is your first master? Si fucking thought for a while and said, yes, I don't remember the exact time, but I joined the cloud summit before I was 10 years old. Actually, he doesn't count as my master, because he hasn't taught me much, but I'm quite grateful to him for giving me a foothold. Among all the masters, it is naturally the master of Ghost Valley who has accompanied her the longest. She also regards the Lord of Ghost Valley as a relative. And at the top of the cloud, she also spends more time with her senior brothers and sisters. Most of the time, Yunjin is a dragon who sees the beginning but does not see the end. Yunjin's age is also a complete mystery. He picked up the 2-year-old Tan Jingmo, but after many years, his appearance has not changed a single bit. Oh, that's right, Si fucking coughed, there's another reason for me to be a teacher, maybe because he's good looking. Hearing this sentence, Yuzian smiled slightly, huh. Si fucking blinked, when I saw you for the first time, I thought that there are people in this world who are more beautiful than my elder brother and master. Yuzian pinched her cheeks, you look at her face that way. Si fucking looked serious, of course, there is a good saying that begins with appearance, falls into talent, and is loyal to character, no, you have to discount the last 4 words. The 3 names of black-hearted monster are well deserved. Yuzian followed the good advice and immediately apologized, I'm sorry. Okay, this is my biggest secret, Si fucking said briskly, you must keep it, my teacher and others don't even know that I'm still on top of the clouds. Yuzian nodded. He paused, and wanted to tell her something. At this moment, he suddenly recalled that Si fucking said more than once in interviews that Emperor Yin should dare to be with his world, and no one can separate them. At that time, the reporter continued to ask her with great interest, what if it was you? Still grimly, she replied that she couldn't either. Whoever dares to break up this pair of CP, she will chase him to the ends of the earth. Netizens burst out laughing after watching the interview. Since then, Si fucking has been given the title of Yinhuang Poison only. The memory is over. Yuzian fell silent. If it is sentenced to life imprisonment, this will really be a very bad thing. He had to proceed step by step and manually disassembled this pair of strange CPS. I really don't know what's going on in her mind all day long. Yuzian asked her, how is the homework in the Department of Archaeology? Si fucking's fox eyes widened slightly, wow, you black-hearted monster who likes to oppress people, you actually asked me if I finished my homework at this time. Can it finish homework? Can. Yuzian smiled slightly, for reference, it's not to squeeze you. Si fucking quickly took out his mobile phone, clicked on the department group, and forwarded several PDF files to him, then you can do it for me, there are several reports. Yuzian lowered her eyelashes, okay. A few seconds later, he seemed to inadvertently ask a question, I remember you wrote a paper on Yinhuang. Ah, yes, Si fucking blinked, I asked the 3 great families and 4 alliances for a lot of information to fill in some gaps in history. In fact, she saw more supplementary information with her own eyes. Yuzian pondered for a while, and said, Ching Ching, Emperor Yin is also a human being, and he also has. Before the word feeling could be said, Si fucking interrupted him, no, he is not human. Yuzian raised her head. He is the god of war. Si fucking looked serious, ordinary people must never touch him. Yuzian. Sure enough, this is really a very bad thing. He pressed his temple. She must be made to get rid of such views completely. At this moment, A faint voice came from the tent. Little lovers outside, please be careful. Which of your brothers and sisters can't see your movements clearly? Sci-fucking. She hardened her fist. In a day's time, the snow has been cleared. The organizing committee of the International Games was worried and waited for another 2 days to confirm that the weather was no longer abnormal before allowing the indoor sports competition to continue. Sci-fucking prepares for the shooting competition. Her performance was so outstanding that even the organizing committee of the International Games began to ask her if she had considered quitting the showbiz to develop a sports career. Because of a blizzard, more people watched the International Games. At this moment, somewhere in Liberty Island. In the room, Sci-fucking's shooting competition was playing on the big screen. The middle-aged man leaned on the sofa and watched, feeling bored. Suddenly, the subordinate standing next to him let out a soft sound, huh. The middle-aged man turned his head and said in displeasure, "What's wrong?" "Sorry, sir," the subordinate smiled apologetically, "I don't know if I remembered it wrong, but I seem to have seen her in the League of Evolvers. If she is an evolutionary, how can she participate in the International Games?" The first hidden rule of the International Games is that evolutionists are absolutely not allowed to participate. After finishing speaking, he was very embarrassed and said, "That must be my misreading." The middle-aged man believed in the memory of his subordinates very much. "No, it's not that you misunderstood. Your evolutionary ability is a photographic memory, and your mental power is also very high." The subordinate was a little puzzled. "Sir, but she... being able to participate in the International Games means that she has sealed her evolutionary lineage." The middle-aged man smiled lightly. "The evolutionary lineage of an evolutionary is sealed, but it will enter a certain state of weakness." The subordinates were taken aback. "You actually sealed your evolutionary lineage?" "No evolutionary would do that at all. This is undoubtedly self-defeating. Although it is said that sealing the bloodline in a short period of time will not cause any harm to the body. But in the circle of evolutionists, there are countless battles every day. If they lose the ability to resist, they will die." The middle-aged man stared at Sci-fucking's face, suddenly seemed to think of something, and took 2 quick steps to the computer. He pulled a photo from several folders. In the photo is a boy who is not yet 20 years old. He took this photo and quickly compared it to Sci-fucking, who was receiving the award on the podium. There are 6 points alike. The middle-aged man slowly spit out 3 words, "Yin Baikan." "Your Majesty experienced a dilemma from Ching Ching 23,333. Actively and passively falling off the horse will be sentenced anyway, dangerous. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment." After having everything taken away, she returns as a god. Author, Ching Qian. Chapter 774. Yin Baikan and Sci-fucking in this period are more similar. Both are full of youthfulness, and have the vitality and spirit of not admitting defeat. Maybe there is still a big difference in appearance, but that wonderful resemblance can make people see Yin Baikan's shadow in Sci-fucking for no reason. The middle-aged man squinted his eyes, really like, maybe he has children. The subordinate was slightly taken aback. "Sir, who is he?" 20 years ago, we received a mission from the headquarters to hunt down a few escapees," the middle-aged man said flatly. "This man and his wife are 2 of them." Hearing this, the subordinate was taken aback. "Both husband and wife? Escapers, those are those who escaped from the must-kill order. 99 out of 10 people who have been issued a kill order have no chance of surviving. Even if he escapes by chance, he will be hunted down continuously until his death is confirmed. 20 years ago, the Revenge Organization successfully killed Yin Baikan and his wife. If he hadn't seen Sci-fucking on TV today, the middle-aged man would have almost forgotten Yin Baikan. Among the many escapees, Yin Baikan was definitely the most difficult one. Even after so long, middle-aged people are still afraid of it. The subordinate recalled it carefully again, and blurted out, "Sir, the Yin family was also there on the day I met her in the Evolved Alliance." "Then she is definitely Yin Baikon's daughter." The middle-aged man thought through a lot of things in an instant, and sneered, "The Yin family kept it a good secret. Are you afraid that what happened back then will happen again?" It is true that the Yin family has never voluntarily released the news that Sci-fi is Yin Baikon's daughter. After all, it has been more than 20 years since the tragedy happened, and there are only a handful of people who know what Yin Baikon looks like. The Yin family also deliberately played down the brothers Yin Baikon and Yin Yeonayan, and deleted their photos. The photo in the middle-aged man's hand is an inventory in the escapees database. Yin Baikon and Ling Hanyi are amazing. They even kept a child behind us without telling us. The middle-aged man's eyes gradually became cold. Both of them have such high bloodlines, the child will definitely not be lower than transcendent a grade. Then it must be removed. The middle-aged man looked at the girl on the screen with murderous eyes, and gave a light snort. In order to participate in a useless international sports meeting, he did not hesitate to seal his evolutionary lineage. How stupid! If he doesn't make good use of this opportunity, he will really be sorry for the good opportunity that God has given him. The middle-aged man ordered his subordinates, "Go to the database of the Evolved Alliance to check her information. I want to know her current strength and the power deployed by the Yin family around her." The subordinate said respectfully, "Understood, the hands-on matter." The middle-aged man put his hands behind his back and smiled, "I will go in person, in exchange for a great merit from the adults." The subordinates left in a hurry. After a while, he went back and forth, "Sir, here are the materials." The middle-aged man took the document and glanced at it. "Super a grade? What about the evolutionary ability?" "No. No one has ever seen her use the evolutionary ability." The subordinate shook his head and said, "She has never shown it." "Then send out manpower on the scale of killing S-level combat evolutionists." The middle-aged man nodded, "Just in case, it must be a one-hit kill." The subordinate also said, "It is true that the top fighters of the Yin family have gone to Dongsang Kingdu, but the eldest lady of the Yin family was seriously injured and dying of coma, and the Yin family hurried back. Only Yin Baikon's younger brother Yin Yeonayan is still at the international games." "Yin Yeonayan," the middle-aged man sneered, "he is also an escapee. This time we will be eradicated together. Send them down to reunite with Yin Baikon. Send more people and go with me to Kingdu to deal with these two people." The subordinate clasped his fists, "Yes, sir." The next day, Dongsang, Kingdu. Roland and his brothers joined the security committee of the international games, responsible for investigation and other work. At noon, Roland had just gone to the cafeteria to get lunch, and before he could sit down, he was stopped. When he saw that the person who stopped him was Tan Jingmo, Roland was shocked. "Hi, Chief." Tan Jingmo put his hands in the pockets of his windbreaker and looked down at him. "I think you are better." Roland was at a loss. "Roland, you are really a good subordinate of Margaret," Tan Jingmo said in a calm voice. "When you met Zero, you already knew the relationship between her and Chief Zero, and you even pretended I don't know anything, joined forces with them to lie to me. You are so wonderful." With a boom, Roland was overwhelmed by the string of words. "Oops." He stammered, Chief, I actually." "You still ask me if I'm alright?" Tan Jingmo raised his hand, punched his head blankly, and then smiled, with a deadly and dangerous air. "Do you think I'm alright?" "Huh." "Roland." At the next table, Fengson looked at Roland, who was screaming in pain with great pity, and at the same time had some gloat. Fortunately, he wasn't the only one who would be tortured by Brother Nine. At least Kenyan has not returned from exile to the far north. His status is still relatively high. Tan Jingmo said coldly, "Shaving your beard is a punishment." Roland said a final farewell to his beard with great sadness. When Feng San wanted to see more of the excitement, he suddenly saw Tan Jingmo turning around. He immediately stood up straight and hid behind Yu Zion. Mr. Yu's acting skills are good. Tan Jingmo walked in slowly, and smiled. As expected, those who are close to ink are black. Feng-san. Mo, do you mean Miss Si? Wonderful. What kind of wonderful people did Miss Si gather? Yu Zion raised her eyes, calm in the face of danger, with a faint smile. Second brother. This appellation is very kind and familiar. Tan Jingmo. His fist was completely hardened. He didn't restrain himself, he directly clenched his palms into fists and launched an attack. Brother 9. Chief. Yu Zion slightly turned her lower body. Let the fist just brush past his face. He was not hit by this punch, but the wind of the punch left shallow scratches on his face. There was blood oozing. Tan Jingmo also recovered quickly. He narrowed his eyes, and took a deep look at this unfathomable man. According to his estimate, Yu Zion should be able to draw with Yunying. His punch didn't have much strength, why did it cause a scratch? As soon as his thoughts turned, a voice suddenly fell. Talk about Jingmo. Feng-san almost knelt on the ground in shock. Si fucking walked over ferociously, blocking Yu Zion behind. Brothers are just sparring, how can you be so ruthless? You actually slapped me in the face, I'm going to be angry. Apart from her face, she loved Yu Zion's face the most. Tan Jingmo narrowed his eyes even deeper, and finally smiled angrily. Yunju, look clearly, it's him who doesn't hide. With Yu Zion's skill, how could she not be able to avoid it? Can only be intentional. Very good. He remembered this account. Nonsense, he knows you are my senior brother, so of course he will let you go. Si fucking immediately took out the wound medicine and carefully wiped it on Yu Zion's face. But you bully him like this, I want to deduct you medicine for this month. Tan Jingmo snorted slightly, took out the toilet paper and wiped the table. Si fucking finished applying the medicine, and gave a serious warning, you are not allowed to fight anymore. Yu Zion rubbed her head, yes. Si fucking also said, if you want to hit, you can't hit the face, there are key parts, and other places are fine. Tan Jingmo raised his eyebrows, oh. Then you have to fight when I'm around. Si fucking said cheerfully, I can buy a big watermelon and eat with third senior sister and watch you guys fight. Tan Jingmo was once again laughed angrily, Yunju, as expected of you, it's really not easy for you to be able to get out of the order. Si fucking thought to herself, she still thought it was a wicked thing for Tan Jingmo to find a girlfriend. After confirming that the two would not fight, Si fucking finished his meal quickly, and then prepared for the afternoon match. Afternoon. In addition to the shooting final, there will also be a women's 400-meter swimming relay. Lin Yukiao, as the last baton, led the women's swimming team to another gold medal. Ching ching, Lin Yukiao was very excited, I have won 4 gold medals in this sports meeting, it must be because of your koi halo. What nonsense. Si fucking pinched her face, it's because of your strength. Lin Yukiao hugged her arm happily, and the two walked out together behind Su Wangtong. The three left the arena. It's getting dark. After walking for a certain distance, Su Wangtong hesitated, did we go the wrong way? Why is there no one on the road? Lin Yukiao was taken aback, ah. Yes, the road seems to have changed. Si fucking remained calm, it's okay, let's go that way. Footsteps sounded at this moment, coming from all directions. Dense and hasty. In a few seconds, the surrounding entrances and exits were completely blocked by dozens of men in black. One of the men in black slowly stepped forward, seeming to smile, Miss Si fucking, my husband has something to discuss with you. Said it was a discussion, but the tone was undeniable. These people have a dark breath and a strong smell of blood. Evolutionary. Si fucking looked indifferent, oh. The man in black glanced at Su Wangtong, Miss Si doesn't want to hurt the innocent, Does she? Su Wangtong knew Si*'s identity in T18, she immediately looked at the girl, Ching Ching, they. He came to look for me. Si**'s expression didn't change. Yes, I know you, you go first, I'll be back in a while. She bent down, touched Lin Yuqiao's head again, and smiled, remember to buy me 2 bunches of candied haws on the way back. Lin Yuqiao was young and didn't realize what was wrong. Su Wangtong was a little worried, but at Si**'s request, he finally left with Lin Yuqiao. It was still pitch black all around. Si** raised his head slowly. Great, no one left. Xiaoxiang's double monthly ticket has started, and babies who still have monthly tickets can vote for Ching Ching and His Majesty, 1 vote is worth 2. Not far from 5,000 votes, let's go. The activities of giving away merchandise on the fan list and raffle by leaving comments are still going on, everyone is welcome to participate. A monthly pass is worth 500 book friends, and babies who have points can exchange points for a monthly pass in the upper right corner of the bookshelf. After having everything taken away, she returns as a god. Author, Qing Qian. Chapter 775. What do you want from me? Si** narrowed his fox eyes and looked at the dozens of men in black. My time is precious, 1 second is worth 10 million. Surprisingly, all of them are evolvers, and none of them are below a level. There are even 7 S-class evolvers. Revenge organization? Precious, the leader of the men in black sneered, soon, you won't have time. Money is just a worldly thing, what's the use of earning so much? Oh, Si** nodded slightly, so, you want to kill me. If you want to blame, just blame you for being Yin Baikon's daughter. The man in black shook his head, it was our dereliction of duty for not getting rid of you when you were born. He wanted to see the anger, the fear, the shock on the girl's face. But there was nothing. There are no surprises and no unnecessary emotions. It's as if they already knew it. Si**'s expression remained unchanged, and he even laughed lightly, it's you. This time it was the man in black's turn to be surprised, you know everything. I don't know, Si** said calmly, anyway, he is the one who is going to die. You are self-aware. The man in black snorted coldly, the surrounding space has been blocked by us. You have sealed your own evolver ability, so don't even think about leaving. But I can let you choose a way to die, you choose. Si** touched his chin. Ah, should she call her senior brothers and sisters, or her boyfriend? Otherwise, let them come together? She began to think seriously about this very important issue. It's useless. The man in black thought that the girl was thinking about how to escape. Even if your evolutionary bloodline is not sealed, as long as you are targeted by the revenge organization, you will only die. Over the years, many elders of Eternal College and Intercontinental Research Institute have defected and become members of the revenge organization. The elites of the revenge organization gathered together and developed a functional medicine that can improve the bloodline of evolutionaries in a short period of time. There are even potions that grant various evolver abilities for a short period of time. These medicines have been tested on countless evolvers. Although they still have side effects, they are no longer fatal. The revenge organization can create tens of thousands of advanced evolvers at any time. How to compare? So confident, a voice said calmly, Yunjiu, this is the first time I've met someone more confident than you. The man in black's expression changed, who? Kaka. It was the sound of something breaking apart. The ground suddenly cracked open, and 3 people appeared in front of Si**. Talk about Jingmo, Yuejian, and Yuan Mingqi. The 3 of them also wore black clothes, blending into the night. You mock them, why do you have to mock me? Si** looked at her, why is it you, senior brother? Tan Jingmo glanced at her coldly, I went to your uncle's place with your boyfriend. Si** coughed lightly, second senior brother, You are the most handsome and the best. Tan Jingmo said calmly, this doesn't work for me. You can use these words to coax your boyfriend. Sci-fi whispered, he is much harder to coax than you. Tan Jingmo showed a dangerous smile, Yunjiu, I'm not deaf. Sci-fi encouraged him, second senior brother, come on, let them see how powerful you are. Tan Jingmo snorted slightly and didn't care about her. His eyes fell on the somewhat dull man in black. Before coming, they had investigated all information about Sci-fi, including the connections she could contact. After confirming that everything was correct, twice the manpower was dispatched. But where did these people come from? Where do these brothers and sisters come from? Third, fifth. Tan Jingmo glanced at all the men in black and divided them into 3 areas in an instant, 10 for each person, no problem, right? Yu Jian flipped up her hair, curled her lips and smiled, showing her charm, no problem. For spiritual evolvers, the last thing they fear is the crowd. There is a big difference between the evolvers who improve their strength through potions and the evolvers who are truly trained through life and death. Yuan Mingqi's smile was pure, like a beautiful young man who didn't know much about the world. He said casually, it's just 10, how about comparing speed? Tan Jingmo rolled up his sleeves, why, you still want to gamble at this time? Then you will definitely lose. Yuan Mingqi deepened his smile, that's impossible to say, second senior brother. The 3 of them released their powers at the same time. 2 S-class ultimate evolvers and 1 supreme onmyoji. If you lead one alone, it will make the world tremble. Gathered now. The man in black was horrified, impossible, you, poof dash. Before he finished speaking, he spit out a mouthful of blood and fell down softly. Tan Jingmo said coldly, I hate people who talk too much, 5 minutes. Sci-fi took the watermelon from Yu Jian, and she sat aside, eating the melon while listening to the screams of the man in black. What a pleasant life. At this moment, the middle-aged man still doesn't know what happened. The data shows that Yin Yaonian is an S-level evolver, with a higher bloodline level than Sci-fi, and will definitely be stronger. Therefore, the Revenge Organization will send out more people, led by the middle-aged man himself. He also asked an evolver from the space system and the spiritual system to join forces to change Yin Yaonian's perception of the surrounding roads, successfully isolating Yin Yaonian from other people. After all, this is outside the Free State and is where the international games are held. If he makes too much noise, he will also be punished. The middle-aged man frowned and glanced at Ye Zhenmian beside Yin Yaonian. That's all, killing one more won't have much impact. He waved his hand, signaling the other members to take action. This group of people in black quickly surrounded Yin Yaonian and Ye Zhenmian. To the middle-aged man's surprise, Yin Yaonian just blocked Ye Zhenmian behind him and was not afraid of their appearance. He brought 15 S-level evolvers. Although they are all achieved in a short period of time with the help of drugs, they at least have considerable strength. Yin Yaonian is not afraid? Yin Yaonian was very calm, are you the same group of people back then? He has not dared to forget the Yin family's feud for more than 20 years. That's right, the middle-aged man admitted happily, actually, we didn't want to target the Yin family, we just wanted your and Yin Baikon's lives? Yin Yaonian sneered, I don't remember when I offended you. The killing order was issued by the adults. You have offended someone who should not be offended. The middle-aged man looked calmly and said, Yin Yaonian, I have to admit that you still have a chance to survive until now. But don't worry, you have no way to escape today, I will send you to reunite with Yin Baikon. Yin Yaonian instantly thought of the 2 players he and Yin Baikon killed in eternity. Neither he nor Yin Baikon are murderous people, but they will not tolerate the other's exaggeration again and again. Yin Yaonian still remembers that the 2 players provoked the 2 brothers. The provocation could be said to be inexplicable. Thinking about it now, it seemed that these 2 players deliberately approached him and Yin Baikon, and then deliberately let their brothers kill them? As soon as this idea emerged, Yin Yeonian was shocked. At that time, he and Yin Baikan were indeed outstanding, but they were only just emerging, and were still lagging behind some of the geniuses in Free Continent. Why do you need to target them like this? He and Yin Baikan are brothers, and they are both difficult to deal with. The middle-aged man shouted, hurry up and kill them to save yourself a long night and a lot of dreams. While Yin Yeonian's back tensed, he also breathed a sigh of relief. Judging from this middle-aged man's tone, he didn't know Yin Baikan was still alive. Really, the voice fell lightly, can you try to move? The middle-aged man raised his hand and stopped his subordinate's actions. He frowned and looked in one direction, looking a little confused. Yin Yeonian also looked up and was startled. 11 hung. Another one. Uzian held Yin Yeonian's shoulders. Uncle, don't worry. I'm not worried. Yin Yeonian exhaled slowly, his eyes scarlet and filled with murderous intent. It's just me. Now he just wants to kill these people in front of him and use their blood to commemorate the lives of the Yin family. Uzian chuckled, yes, I will take you out first. At this time, Yun Ying had already walked in front of the middle-aged man. He is tall and has a strong sense of oppression. Introduce yourself. Yun Ying smiled. The top of the clouds, Yun Ying. Top of the clouds. These 4 words made the middle-aged man's expression change wildly. Before he could react, Yun Ying's smile had faded away, leaving only coldness and solemnity. After the introduction, you can die. Sudden update. Is there any sudden monthly ticket? Give the handsome senior brother a ticket. OUO. It's the end of the month, and I'm also asking for monthly tickets for Ching Ching. Thank you everyone, I hope to reach 6,000. After having everything taken away, she returns as a god. Author, Ching Qian. Chapter 776. His tone of voice was cold and calm, without any ups and downs. The whole person's style is the same as his evolutionary ability, light and undisciplined like the wind. But it was such a gentle sentence, but it was like thunder exploding in the ears of the middle-aged man. The top of the cloud. The Revenge Organization did not take the 4 major families of Freedom Continent seriously, and even made a lot of moves in the Intercontinental Research Institute and the Eternal Academy. After all, many researchers and inner court students have also been ordered to kill. But the top of the cloud and the Holy Light Tribunal are 2 places that the Revenge Organization is still unwilling to be completely enemies. The top of the cloud is very mysterious. Not to mention that there is very little information released to the outside world, even the disciples don't know the details of each other. Without accurate information, the Revenge Organization did not dare to act easily. Cloud Shadow? Surname Yun? The middle-aged man looked shocked. You are the master of the top of the cloud. No. Yun Ying smiled faintly. Yun Yi, disciple Zhongxin Yi. Ugh. The wind suddenly surged at this moment. By the time the middle-aged man recovered from his panic, it was already too late. The strong wind controlled the space they were in, tearing apart crazily. A man in black uttered a scream, and his limbs were cut off by the wind. More storms came, like an invisible big hand, strangling the middle-aged man's throat. Extreme, S-level evolutionary, the middle-aged man's face was blushing, and his voice was intermittent. You. Among the S-level evolutionists, there is such a group of people who still have the word extreme. The ultimate S-level evolutionary must have reached the extreme in the use of his evolutionary abilities. The middle-aged people have only read the records about the ultimate S-level evolutionary in books, but they have never actually seen one. But in his impression, he heard the adult mention that besides the Dean, Eternal Academy also has 4 ultimate S-level evolutionists. But it is too difficult to become an extreme evolutionary. Especially the 4 natural elements of earth, water, wind, and fire. There really is an ultimate S-level evolutionary who controls the wind element. How can that be? But the middle-aged man couldn't speak a single word. He was completely enveloped by the wind, which was constantly squeezing his body, and his internal organs were almost torn apart. The middle-aged man spat out a mouthful of blood, exhausted his last bit of strength, and struggled to take out a needle from his pocket. There is an ice blue liquid in the needle tube, which has a strange and illusory beauty. With a loud cry, he suddenly injected all the medicine in the needle tube into his body. Boom! There was a crackling sound in the air. The middle-aged man finally escaped from the imprisonment of the wind. And his body was full of wounds, dripping with blood, and steam was constantly floating up. With her hands behind her back, Yuning's expression didn't change much. He looked at the middle-aged man leisurely, and even raised his eyebrows with interest. The middle-aged man didn't dare to look back at all, and only the word "run away" remained in his mind. Run. Must escape. The news that they miscalculated the strength of the top of the cloud must be sent back to the headquarters. However, just as the middle-aged man turned around and took 2 steps, the space in front of him suddenly froze. Yuzian raised her hand and said in a cool tone, "Can I run away?" Buzz. The space tightened, and the middle-aged man once again felt the piercing pain of the internal organs being squeezed. The middle-aged man was almost heartbroken. You too. This is the space department. It is even more difficult for an evolutionary to achieve the ultimate in the field of space. Who is this man? Unheard of. The middle-aged man opened his mouth, and when he was about to say something, his eyes suddenly became frightened. "My lord, I..." Before he could finish speaking, his head and body suddenly separated, and he fell heavily to the ground. The other men in black who used potions to enhance the abilities of the evolutionaries of their bloodlines were also killed. Yuzian squatted down and pointed at the blood on the ground. "It's exactly the same." "Yes," Yuning said lightly, "they all have some kind of restriction in their bodies, and they will die if they trigger it. In the revenge organization, the only fate for the losers is death." Yuzian got up. "Well, let's go." With a wave of his hand, the space turned, and soon the forest returned to its previous peaceful appearance. The other side. Tanjingmo, Yujian, and Yuan Mingqi also dealt with the 30 revenge organization members who came to besiege and kill Sci-Fucking. The people in black all fell to the ground, losing their ability to move. The leading man in black pointed at Sci-Fucking, who had finished eating a large watermelon with trembling fingers. You. The Yin family definitely does not have such strength. The people sent by the revenge organization to kill the Yin family back then were even smaller than the lineup that surrounded and killed Sci-Fucking today, and they had already suppressed the Yin family to the point where they were powerless to resist. But of the 3 people that Sci-Fucking called today, any one of them has the strength to wipe them out. What is this? Sci-Fucking hugged his knees and slowly squatted down. "Don't look at me, I'm weak and helpless." The people in black from the Vengeance organization were stunned. "Listen, is this what people say?" Tanjingmo tilted his head. "Xiaoju, do you want to keep alive?" "It shouldn't be possible to keep them," Sci-Fucking just said. The people in black who were dying just now were all silent at this moment. Yuan Mingqi's expression changed, and he stepped forward in an instant. He checked it, and said in a solemn voice, "It's not yin-yang, it's strange. Onmyoji does have a similar effect." Yuejian also shook her head slightly. "It's not a spiritual imprint either." The two looked at each other. "I have the same thoughts in my heart." "Trouble." Tanjingmo clicked his tongue. "It's ugly, clean it up." He raised his hand, ready to crack the ground. "Second senior brother, wait a minute." Sci-Fucking narrowed his eyes. "I need their blood." "Oh," Tanjingmo pondered, "do you want to test their DNA and blood components?" And Sci-Fucking had already stepped forward, skillfully took out the needle and began to draw blood. "Their strength should not be so high, I suspect they used medicine. Go back and study, maybe you can find a countermeasure." A voice called her at this moment. Ching ching. Sci-fi tilted his head back and blinked, brother 9. As soon as the title was spoken, she was knocked on the head. Yun Ying looked at her condescendingly, don't you call me S.I. fucking. It's mysterious, but she didn't notice it. What do you call it? Big brother is really a vicious bad man. Tan Jingmo nodded slightly, solved. Yeah, Yunying said lightly, it's just a bunch of scumbags. Tan Jingmo frowned, they're all dead, so I can't ask anything. I got this. Yu Zion took out a mobile phone from his pocket, there should be information in it. Si fucking took it and turned on the phone. She clicked on the phone a few times, and couldn't help frowning, what a powerful defense system, second senior brother. Tan Jingmo sat down beside her, and said in a lazy tone, okay, I will help you. The two worked together, and it took a full hour to break through the firewall. After unlocking the password, Si fucking called out the escapees database. The database is arranged according to the number, and the total number has exceeded 100,000. It is very surprising that there are many escapees in the database who are celebrities with certain influence in the world. And these celebrities have all passed away in the past few decades. Some died suddenly, and some suffered accidents. It looks seamless from the outside. It turned out to be man-made. With solemn eyes, Si fucking quickly flipped through the information of each escapee. Finally saw Yin Baikan. On Yin Baikan's information form, there was a red seal with the words confirmed death. Si fucking moved his eyes down, and in the information column of family members, he clearly saw a name written behind his wife. She muttered, Aya Hanyi. She re-entered the 3 words Aya Hanyi in the search box. Soon, a new information sheet popped up. Si fucking was the first to see the photo on the right, and couldn't help but feel a shock. It's a girl in her early 20s. Compared with Yin Baikan, the girl is more like her. There was a natural coldness between her brows and eyes, as sharp as a blade. Like Yin Baikan, the words confirmed death were stamped on her information form. There is no need to explore anymore. Ling Hanyi is her mother. Si fucking's fingers also trembled, and after saving the information form, he immediately sent it to MRS Huo, who was guarding Liberty Island. At this time, it is daytime on Freedom Island. Huo Tianwen just finished his breakfast and was about to go to work. He heard a string of bells of special concern. Mom, your phone is ringing. Huo Tianwen glanced at it, it's either Ching Ching or Yan Yan. Anyway, he doesn't have the status for Madame Huo to set him as special care. MRS Huo wiped her hands, here we come. Good morning. 1 vote for you, 1 vote for me, the big brother will make his debut soon. Only 20 votes away. Make it up for the big brother OUO, double monthly ticket, 1 ticket is worth 2 tickets, don't miss it. How can you say that you change your mind when you change your mind? You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. After having everything taken away, she returns as a god. Author, Qing Qian. Chapter 777. Hey, it's Jing Qing. MRS Huo immediately smiled when she saw the sender. Look, the girl is still more caring than the brat, and Qing Qing will send me greetings every day. It's not easy for Huo Yangxing's generation to finally have a girl. MRS Huo clicked on the message, her expression froze instantly. The majestic evolutionary energy soared into the sky uncontrollably, shocking Huo Tianwen. He hurriedly got up and hurried to MRS Huo's side. Mom? Is something wrong? MRS Huo's fingers trembled, and her voice became unsteady. Heaven, you, look. Look. She handed over the phone. On the screen was Ling Hanyi's photo and other personal information. Huo Tianwen's pupils shrank. This is. It's your sister, MRS Huo wept with joy, it really is. Her other daughter was indeed still alive. "Mom, please calm down first, I'll ask Ching Ching about the specific situation." Huo Tianwen immediately found Si-fucking's phone and dialed it. The other party quickly picked it up. "Hello, uncle." "Ching Ching, where did you get the information?" Huo Tianwen hurriedly asked. "Where is your mother now?" The system of the revenge organization Si-fucking briefly recounted what happened today, but their information is also wrong. Yin Baikan did not die, but the revenge organization printed the words "confirmed death" on the escapee information database. Obviously, the intelligence system of the revenge organization is limited. Revenge organization, MRS. Huo's eyes burst into light. "It's them again. Even if I don't want this life, I must eradicate them." Repeatedly hurt her family, lawless in Free State. The Holy Light Tribunal has a branch, and a second branch will pop up. Like a grasshopper after autumn, it cannot be swept away. "Grandma, calm down." Si-fucking shook his head slightly. Revenge organizations are able to instigate so many veterans of the Intercontinental Academy and the Eternal Academy, and their methods are definitely not as simple as they appear on the surface. What they can see now is just the tip of the iceberg. It's all little guys in action. I'm afraid that Liberty Island has been completely infiltrated by the revenge organization. Even the Cloud Summit and the Holy Light Tribunal are among them. MRS. Huo was shocked. "Ching Ching, you are right, then I believe in the strength of my parents. They escaped the pursuit of the revenge organization. We will meet again one day." Si-fucking said softly. "The most urgent task now is to improve the overall strength of the Huo family." Today's crisis was resolved easily because the top combat power on the top of the cloud is there. And if these people are invading other forces today, they will just be like the Yin family back then, with blood flowing like rivers and falling apart overnight. What made Si-fucking's heart sink was that this was even just the power of a branch of the Vengeance organization. "I am afraid that even the combined efforts of the four major families in Liberty Continent will not be able to stop the attack of the revenge organization." "Okay," MRS. Huo said in a deep voice, "I have reached an agreement with Dean Dongfang, and we will focus on training the guards. Ching Ching, you must pay attention to safety. It would be great if you can reduce public activities. Even if the revenge organization doesn't pay attention to the entertainment industry anymore, and Si-fucking becomes more and more famous, he will still be targeted one day. Don't worry, Grandma." Si-fucking smiled. "I will pay attention." After the call ended, she sighed and pressed her temples. Yu Zian raised her hand and patted her on the back. "Take a rest." Yunying narrowed her eyes slightly. "Xiaoju, you are actually participating in so many public activities to improve De Xia's luck." Yes, Si-fucking rubbed his shoulders and sneered softly. "Whatever they want to do, I won't let them succeed." Hearing this sentence, Yunying tapped the table with her slender fingers. "Is the master out of customs?" No, Yuejian frowned, but the old man said, "Hurry up, if the elder brother goes to have a look, maybe the master will leave the customs early. After all, you were the first to enter the door and spent the longest time with the master." Yunying frowned. "You are wrong, I have very few chances to meet him." Si-fucking suddenly asked, "Eldest brother, were you also picked up by the master? Have you looked for your family?" Yunying paused, then said flatly, "No." When the other senior brothers and sisters heard this answer, they all turned their heads curiously. Tan Jingmo raised his eyebrows in surprise. "Elder brother is not. If you lose the bet, you are willing to accept the bet." Yunying was non-committal. "Who is the master and who is the apprentice, what does it matter? Yunying is indeed such a person. He has a special detachment and indifference and does whatever he wants, but there is paranoia and violence engraved in his bones. The combination of two diametrically opposed temperaments endows him with a strong charm, making it impossible for people to ignore his existence." Si-fucking pondered for a while. "Senior brother, are you two some monsters?" Second senior brother said that the master had that face when he was a child, and he still had that face when I was in my 20s. You have bet with him. Aren't you two the same age? Why aren't you old at all? Yuning looked at her with a complicated expression. You have acted too much. Have you started to act with IQ? Si fucking. Her fist hardened. But she can't beat Yuning now. Huok Feng, when her bloodline returns to S, she must copy the ability of an evolutionary who controls fire. Beat the senior brother until he didn't even know the second senior brother. Okay, the matter is settled, let's go back. Si fucking stretched his waist. To celebrate today's progress, I will drive you back to the hotel. Hearing this, Yuning was silent for a rare moment. A few seconds later, he smiled. Yunju, are you going to take us back to the hotel, or are you going to take us on the road? Yuzian rubbed her head, and said with a gentle voice, Ching Ching, you must not drive. Si fucking. Are her driving skills really that scary? She obviously got the true biography of Ye Wanlin. She has already mastered such skills as driving sideways and overtaking with a blade. There will be absolutely no casualties. It's just scrapping a sports car at most. Yunying obviously saw her thoughts, and said flatly, your second and third child eat and drink 10 times with public money, but it's not as much as you get for a scrapped car. Si fucking coughed lightly. Isn't the sixth brother reimbursed? It's different now, my boyfriend has a gold mine. Oh, Yunying looked at Yuzian lightly with a half smile, and then said, you have found a good backer. In this way, he also has one thing on his mind. Come on, the other kids. Yunying glanced at the others, try to get out of the order. Several single dogs. This is really a heart-wrenching thing. 15 days later, the international games officially ended. In the end, Daxia ranked first with 79 gold medals and 180 total medals. Si fucking participated in 13 events, and also won the gold medals in these 13 events. Si fucking is awesome. It's really better to quit the circle and focus on sports next year. It's better to participate in all the events. Aren't the gold medals all ours? Is there anything she can't do? It seems to be. Oh, this year's major TV drama awards in China are all in her name. My goddess is the most powerful. The International Games Organizing Committee also specially sent congratulations. And in a very serious tone, he asked Si fucking on Weibo when he would quit the circle and start his sports career officially. Muses. This is not something to be happy about. Sang Yanking looked at the muses who ran to the bottom of the studio to cry again, and assured them that Si fucking would never quit the circle, and then comforted them. At this time, Si fucking had just arrived in Liberty Island. She has officially become a student in the inner courtyard of Eternal Academy, and today is the day to receive benefits every semester. The treatment for the students in the inner courtyard is excellent, and the academy has never been stingy in giving resources. It even encourages scrambling. This is the world of evolutionaries. Only by constant struggle and survival of the fittest can we cultivate true elites. After receiving the benefits, Nian Yian turned around and just said, Sister Ching Ching, let's go back. His words stopped, his expression changed. Several people stood in front of Si fucking. The leader is a tall and burly young man wearing a coat. There is a badge on the shoulder. Before entering Liberty Continent, he was popularized by Si Fu to the major forces in Liberty Continent. This badge is the family crest of the Ye family, the first family in Liberty Island. A child of the Ye family. I haven't seen you before, did you just come in? The young man stroked his chin and clicked his tongue. After knowing that the new students have received benefits, do they want to honor the old students? Si fucking looked indifferent, irrational, and walked straight forward. Wait, the young man closed his smile, his face turned cold. Seeing that you haven't even reached the S rank, it's useless to use so many energy potions. Put the things down and go. He motioned for several companions to come forward and surround Si fucking sway out. Si fucking finally stopped. She turned her head and suddenly smiled. You want to provoke me? Do it. The young man seemed to have heard something extremely funny. You are a freshman, and you haven't passed the systematic training in the inner courtyard. How can you do it with me? People who are not Eternal Academy know that even an A-level evolutionary who has been trained in the inner courtyard can beat an S-level evolutionary. This is also the reason why evolutionists want to enter Eternal Academy. The young man clearly saw the courtyard uniform on Sci-fi's body. White. The freshmen recruited this year have been admitted to the hospital for less than a month. What can they learn? Still want to fight him? I really don't know how much I weigh. Not to mention, this girl doesn't even have a family crest on her body, and she obviously has no background. The young man said again, I said, put the things down, and you go. Sci put down the box in his hand, nodded slowly, okay, I will do what you wish. Only a few dozen votes will be the next 1,000, and there are only a few dozen votes, and the double monthly ticket will drop soon. Everyone vote for Kinkin, I will write the third update for everyone. After having everything taken away, she returns as a god. Author, Ching Qian. Chapter 778. As soon as the sentence fell, several young people stopped. The young man's expression eased a bit, and he smiled. That's right, it's interesting. Today, he has used various means to deter several freshmen, and all of them have achieved good results. There were a few freshmen who wanted to resist because they were transcendent a grade, but in the end they were suppressed by him with power. After all, in Liberty Continent, there are not many people who dare to offend the surname yet. Only Nian Yin. A bunch of idiots. But his sister's appearance was indeed deceiving. No wonder so many people still think she is cute and cute, not aggressive. Nian Yin sighed softly. He was also one of those who were deceived in the beginning. Just put it there. The young man took a cigarette in his mouth. You did a good job. I can cover you in the future, just report my name. Sci looked indifferent, not only did not leave, but stepped forward step by step. At this time, young people are still unaware of any crisis. He also stretched out his hand. Why, we need to seek help now. The last word was not uttered. Boom. The young man fell off in the air, and was directly punched by Sci to the ground. It happened so suddenly that none of the attendants could react. And when they came back to their senses, they all fell to the ground. The pain was so painful that it was difficult to even stand up. That's it. Sci clapped his hands. Teach me to be a man? Bullying the weak and fearing the hard. This kind of direct provocation is common in Eternal Academy. These people really only pick soft persimmons. She had dealt with many people together with Ye Wanlin, Lu Qingning and Yu Huixiu before. It seems that in the few years they have been away, these people have made a comeback. The young man bent over in pain, curled up, and gasped for breath. You. Sci said coldly, get lost. Several people supported each other, and ran away almost scrambling, not even daring to turn their heads. Sci casually threw the confiscated booty to Nian Yin. Take it away, I don't need it. You and Xiaoyu share it? She would never call Xiaoyu the second brother. This is Sic's dignity. Nian Yin was taken aback. Sister Ching, there are some energy supplements that the Huo family can't get, only Eternal Academy has them. Your sister has plenty. Sci lazily patted him on the shoulder. If you don't have enough, just ask me for it. Nian Yin came to a sudden, and he lowered his voice. Sister Ching, I understand, you must have internal channels, right? Sci rubbed his chin. It's sort of. As she spoke, she patted him on the shoulder. You go first, I'll go to the dean's office. Lake Center, dean's office building. The office building that had been blown up by the two deans before had been completely repaired, and Sci swept his face into it. At this time, Dean Dongfang was dealing with colleagues. Seeing his precious personal disciple come in, he was very happy. Ching Ching, why did you come here suddenly? Come to the teacher and ask for some resources. Si sat down opposite him, and stretched out his hand confidently. I want the best batch. Dean Dongfang glanced at her, and said in a bad mood, okay, I haven't seen you for a few years, but your temper has not changed, and you still like to come to me to squeeze me. But he said it anyway, and handed over the prepared material list with a smile. You can go to the warehouse to get it yourself in a while. Si took it and raised his eyebrows. Aren't you afraid that I'll be emptied? Dean Dongfang was choked, and accidentally saw the girl's hands were bright red, and his expression changed. What's wrong with the hands? Si took out a tissue, wiped off the blood on his hands, and wrote lightly, I met an old student who wanted to teach me how to be a human being. The water that Dean Dongfang had just drank spurted out. Who is so short-sighted and thinks you are weak? Si shrugged, I don't know which faction they are from the Ye family. This surname made Dean Dongfang slightly startled. He pursed his lower lip and sighed softly, if Wanlan is still there, the position of heir to the Ye family will not fall into the hands of others. Turning the lanterns at night is too strong. In the huge family of the Ye family, their strength and talent are also top-notch. It can be called the 4 words heavenly genius. But the sky is also jealous of beauty. She also left very early, only 21 years old. This age is as fresh as a flower, but she sleeps forever in a strange place. No body, no tombstone. You can't go home after you die. Si didn't respond, but asked, what's the situation in the Ye family now? The brothers and sisters Ye Baking and Ye Zilan are in charge, Dean Dongfang said flatly. Although the Ye family has not announced the next successor, there is no one else besides them. S level, with the ability to become the ultimate evolutionary. After losing the turnaround, the Ye elders are very optimistic about them. Si narrowed his fox eyes slightly. She didn't have much contact with the Ye family, and Ye Wanlan would never discuss these trivial matters with her. But what is certain is that all the direct descendants of the Ye family combined cannot compare to Ye Wanlan. I still miss you, sister. She will finish what Ye Wanlan hasn't done. Si held the cup and took a sip of hot tea. Teacher, judge me, I learned my car skills from my sister, so it must be very superb, but my brothers and sisters all refuse to ride in my car. Ah, the worst thing is that my boyfriend even forbids me to drive. These words caused Dean Dongfang to suddenly fall into a very dark memory. In my memory, Ye Wanlan was only 15 years old, and once drove him to the airport on the way. That distance was only 10 minutes, but he seemed to have died thousands of times. The car I learned from Ye Wanlan. Dean Dongfang showed a kind smile. Ching Ching, they are right, you must not drive. Si. On the other side, the Ye family. There are tens of thousands of members in the Ye family, and the young man is only an offshoot of the Ye family, and his bloodline is only A level. Fortunately, he entered the inner courtyard, but failed to graduate in 10 years. Otherwise, he wouldn't find a sense of presence in the freshman who had just entered the inner courtyard. Yejia's medical conditions are very good, and the equipment is also very advanced. After the young man healed his internal injuries, his face was still bruised and purple. He walked with his head down, his eyes full of viciousness, and he had already decided to find someone to clean up Si. What the Ye family lacks most is people. While walking, the young man suddenly bumped into a broad back. Presumptuous, a cold shout sounded, where did the beggar come from, rushing against the young master? The young man's expression changed, and he knelt down with a plop. Brother, I didn't mean it, I'm sorry, brother. Ye Baking turned her head and frowned. What's wrong with your face? Brother, the young man's heart beat, and cold sweat broke out on his forehead. I was beaten at the Eternal Academy. Been beaten, yeah. Baking's voice was cold. Trash. Young people dare not be angry or speak out. Whoever beats you, then beat it back, yeah. Baking glanced at the young man. I don't allow anyone to insult my family style outside the family. The young man opened his mouth. Big brother, I haven't found anyone yet. I call some guards and follow him, yeah. Baking waved his hands casually. Don't hold back. The chief guard nodded. Yes, young master. The young man was overjoyed. Thank you, brother. With yeah Baking providing him with assistance, he will definitely be able to get the place back. Young master, the chief guard hesitated for a while. Struggling in the Eternal Academy is a common occurrence. There is no need for us outsiders. It's necessary, of course it's necessary, yeah. Baking smiled slightly, because yeah Wanlin doesn't like things that use power to overwhelm others, so I'm going to confront her. Now that she's gone, I'll see how she can stop it. As he said that, his expression turned grim. I've been dead for 10 years, and I'm still so lingering. A few elders let me learn from her every day, bah. The head of the guard lowered his head, not daring to speak at all. When I succeed the patriarch, I'll dig her grave first, yeah. Baking sneered. There's no coffin anyway, it's just a clothes tomb. There's nothing to pay homage to. With a cold face, he strode away. It was already 10 o'clock in the evening when Sci-fi left Dean Dongfang's office. The Eternal Academy at this time is very peaceful. It's not because the students all went to rest, but because they all connected to the game cabin in sleep mode, entered the Eternal Continent, and started the most critical experience. Sci-fi leaned out the door. She stroked her belly. Hungry? Well, it's time for supper. Sci-fi took out his mobile phone and sent a message to Uzion. Ninth brother, come quickly, don't tell anyone, let's go have supper together. After sending out, she squatted on the side of the road and waited while playing with ants. After a few minutes of silence, she moved her ears, suddenly raised her head, and looked in one direction. The young man, with 5 tall and burly guards, was quickly overtaking her. Sci-fi patted the dust on her clothes, and she stood up. The injury healed so quickly, it seems that the memory is also great. It was she who played lightly. It's really not easy to find you. The young man showed a sinister look. You beat me during the day, so don't try to run away tonight. The guards assigned to him by Baking can jointly resist S-level evolutionists, and they have rich experience in actual combat. Oh, Sci-fi looked at him leisurely. Why should I run? You can't run away, the young man sneered. Did you see, these are the elite guards of my family. Even if you can beat me, you can't resist the family. If you offend my eldest brother and second sister, whether you can survive in Liberty Island is another matter. The family is the #1 family in Liberty Continent, with great power. His surname is Ye, so he has inherent arrogance. Oh? You said you were in power. Sci-fi tilted his head, as if he was thinking seriously. A few seconds later, she smiled slowly, and raised her finger. Okay, then you remember, I palm life and death. Adding more is coming, a thick and long chapter. It's only 100 votes away and it's 7,000, everyone give it a shot. There are a lot of words in each chapter. OUO is a very hard-working day. After having everything taken away, she returns as a god. Author, Qing Qian. Chapter 779. The girl spoke lightly, with a calm tone as if she was just asking what tea she would like to drink today. Her eyebrows and eyes are also clear and light. But the movements of her hands didn't match her expression at all. Ruthless, irritable, and extremely decisive. With a click, Sci-fi pinched the young man's throat. Her voice was light and light, with a slight smile. It's your life and death. At this moment, the young man's scalp was almost about to explode. He suddenly realized that he had said so many protest words, but it really didn't work in front of this freshman. She is not afraid of the Knight family. Is there a real background, or is it just because newborn calves are not afraid of tigers? The young man hadn't thought it through yet, but in the next second, he suddenly felt the absolute oppression from his bloodline. When we met for the first time, he didn't feel it at all. You're not. The young man suddenly widened his eyes, and only fear remained on his face. Not an A-level evolutionary? How can someone suppress their evolutionary lineage? He could no longer ask these two questions. Sci-fucking let go of his hand. She raised her head and her eyes fell on the guards of the Ye family who followed the young man. Even though these guards had been trained by Ye Baking, they all changed their expressions when faced with this scene. It is true that the strength of the young man is not strong, but no matter how weak he is still an A-level student who has studied in the inner courtyard of Eternal Academy. Just like that. This girl. The few guards didn't even have the heart to fight, their legs staggered, and they turned around and were about to run. But they couldn't escape. It was as if an invisible barrier blocked their way. The guards looked horrified. Or the space department. Want to run? Sci-Fu leaned forward with his hands behind his back, and stepped forward unhurriedly. Did I let you run? She hasn't played enough yet. The guards of the Ye family are indeed stronger than those of the Huo family. But in front of Sci-fucking, there was still no power to fight back. Since we're here, we're not prepared to go and never return, so we're not qualified soldiers. Sci-fucking lowered his head, patted the face of one of the guards one after another, and said flatly, compared to my sister's soldier, you are trash. As the backbone of the Eternal Four, Ye Wanlin also has strong leadership skills, and has also cultivated a well-trained team of dead soldiers. Lu Qingning is lively, responsible for logistics and other finishing work, and also specializes in adjusting the atmosphere. Yu Huixiu is weak-tempered and only cares about how to increase her strength. Like her, she is a well-deserved combat power in the group of four. Even if there is extra time, it is crazy to practice, or find someone to make an appointment. This is very similar to Kukaki Minjiao. Sci-fucking used to think that if one day he could introduce these two people to each other, maybe they would become partners in a fight. That way, she wouldn't have to be dragged into a fight. It's just that after Ye Wanlin passed away, the soldiers who were only loyal to her also disappeared. It hasn't been seen again for so many years. Elder sister? The guard's eyes widened. It's not your Ye family, don't think too much. Sci-fucking said flatly, okay, it's time for you to go on your way. The night was silent, except for the wind blowing and the leaves falling all over the place. Sci-fucking stood quietly under the moonlight, with blood streaming down her fingers. Only in the chaotic and disorderly continent of Free State, can she show her truly dark and paranoid side without any scruples. She squatted down again and continued to play with ants. 5 minutes later, a black car stopped. The door opens. Yu Zion came down and saw the girl shrunk into a small ball, looking very lonely. He paused, and squatted down beside her. Ching Ching, what's the matter? I just counted 899 ants, but I was interrupted. Sci-fucking poked the ground with a branch. I have to count again. Yu Zion didn't laugh at her, but took out a bag of buns from her arms, and touched her head. You are hungry, take a rest first, and I will count for you, okay? Sci-fucking was startled. The dark bloody smell on his body was gradually diluted. Ninth brother, you are so kind. She took the bun in his hand. Only my sister will accompany me to do such boring and childish things. Yu Zion looked into her eyes. Sister? Senior sister? He knew that she always referred to Yu Ejian as third senior sister. The word sister seems to have completely different meanings to her. Sci-fucking shook his head and remained silent. After she finished eating a steamed stuffed bun, she regained her vitality. No counting, let's go, let's elope for supper, don't be discovered by the big brother. Now she was afraid that while she was walking on the road, Yunying would suddenly appear and call her Yunju again. It's a really bad feeling. Yuzian held her hand and smiled softly, okay, elope. The next day, at noon. Night home. After Ye Baking finished her morning affairs, she began to enjoy lunch. His compatriot sister Yezilan sat across from him. The two are twins, and their appearance is extremely similar. Young master, at this moment, the chief guard suddenly came in a panic, yet he and the others are gone. Ye Baking raised her head, her eyebrows furrowed deeply, what did you say? Yet Yezilan was a little puzzled, who is this? A child from a side branch. Ye Baking said casually, oh, that trash yesterday was called Yehi. It's true, young master, the captain of the guard said anxiously, they haven't come back all night. When I went to check their chips just now, I found that the chips have been scrapped. Ye Baking is suspicious and cruel by nature. Chips are a way for him to control his people. Through the chip, he can even know whether his subordinates have a different heart. Ye Baking's face darkened instantly, who did it? It was, wiped out by the regiment, they were all dead, and the body didn't know where it went. The chief guard murmured, I don't know who the other party is. There may be surveillance video in the inner courtyard of Eternal Academy, but it was just a normal fight. This kind of thing happened every day in the inner courtyard, and it couldn't be more ordinary. If Ye Baking really reported to the elders that he could not insult Yejia Menfen, he would go to the Eternal Academy to retrieve the video. That's really ridiculous. Brother, forget it, it's not a big deal. Yezilan smiled, a side disciple whose name we can't even remember, will be gone if he is gone. His skills are not as good as others, and it has nothing to do with you. Ye Baking reluctantly complied, but she was still very unhappy. On the other side, the Huo family. Sci-fi came back with great difficulty. Mrs. Huo personally cooked and prepared a big meal. At this time, Sci-fi just received a call from Yin Yeonian. Uncle. Ching Ching, the Yin family is about to start choosing the next patriarch. Yin Yeonian looked serious, I'm past my age, and I'm not interested in the position of patriarch, but if you want, I will fight for you. If the tragedy of the year hadn't happened, the head of the Yin family would only be Yin Baikan, and there would be no second choice. Sci-fi also inherited the blood of Yin Baikan and Ling Hanyi, so he was naturally strong but not weak. Well, I need it. Sci-fi's eyelashes drooped, Uncle, do you have any requirements for the successor? In the past, she certainly had no interest in such a position of power. But now it's different. The enemy is in the dark, and its strength is unknown. The Yin family has already experienced being tortured and killed, and it is the primary target of the revenge organization, and they urgently need to improve their strength. She wanted to clean the entire Yin family and turn it into an indestructible iron plate. On the day she meets Yin Baikan, she can also prove to him that she can inherit his will and bring the Yin family back to a higher peak. It's just a martial arts competition, it's very easy for you, and other children of your generation trust you, so you are the most suitable head of the family. Yin Yeonian smiled, the only person you have to be careful of is Yin Yungzi. Sci-fi nodded, healed. That's right, it's been more than half a month. Perhaps because she almost died once, her temperament suddenly changed, and her whole person became gloomy. Yin Yeonian frowned, originally, it would take a few months before the election of the patriarch, and the transition of the patriarch is usually in the middle of the year. It was she who suddenly invited the leader of the Evolved Alliance and asked to choose an heir immediately. Sci-fi's eyelashes drooped, and he pondered for a while, okay, I see. Call ended. Mrs. Huo turned her head and asked with concern, Ching Ching, what's the matter? What happened? Do you need grandma's help? Sci-fi moved his wrist, and lazily said, it's not a big deal, it's just to be a patriarch for fun. She hasn't done it yet. Ching Ching, His Majesty blows, Sister blows QWQ. It's the end of the month, and all the babies who still have a monthly pass will vote for Ching Ching. What time is it today? 3 tickets for 3 changes, 4 tickets for 4 is better. Everyone is responsible for voting. I will explode the liver code words. Wow. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. After having everything taken away, she returns as a god. Author, Ching Qian. Chapter 780. The family mainly manages a family and bears great responsibilities. Sci-fi is going to share some things with Nian Yin. When in trouble, brothers and sisters should be together. Patriarch, Mrs. Huo was a little surprised. But she didn't ask too much, and kicked Huo Tianwen, who was drinking soup, directly. Don't drink soup, just know how to eat, there is business. Huo Tianwen spit out a mouthful of soup, and was choked immediately. Ahem, cough, what's the matter? Ching Ching said that she wants to be the head of the family for fun. Why don't you hurry up and give her the order of the head of the family and other certificates? Mrs. Huo made a final decision. I think King King's leadership ability is better than yours, and the position of the head of the family should be given to someone who is worthy. People live there. I won't say much, you can make way for Ching Ching. Huo Tianwen. Wait, what happened? Sci-fi. Grandma, no, you misunderstood. Sci-fi said, I'm talking about the head of the Yin family. Uncle just called me and said that the Yin family is about to choose a head. Hearing this, Mrs. Huo frowned, not very happy. How can this work? You are also my Huo family, and the Huo family is your mother's family. Your first choice should be the Huo family. Grandma, your body is still strong. Sci-Fu smiled, I have to manage the Yin family and eliminate all loopholes. Okay, everything depends on your opinion. Mrs. Huo sighed, if you need grandma's help, just ask. Sci-Fi made an okay gesture, no problem. Huo Tianwen held the soup bowl, still a little dazed, then why should I continue? Mrs. Huo glanced at him, if you don't want to do it, get out immediately. Huo Tianwen. This double standard world made him hurt more and more. A few days later, Sci-Fi returned to the Great Xia Empire, and continued to record the variety show Great Xia Treasure. At the same time, in order to further increase the popularity of the Great Xia Empire in the field of international film and television culture, gather more luck. She asked Raphael, Duke of Miston, to promote the variety show Big Summer Treasure to the world. Mr. S.I., congratulations. Jean directed her to congratulate, you have won 13 gold medals in the international games this time, and you have also been nominated for 3 major TV drama awards. It's a double harvest. The program team specially held a celebration banquet for you, so don't refuse. Director Chin, please be polite. Sci-Fi nodded slightly, I also took a long leave of absence, which delayed the progress of the crew. Let's start working directly. It's Mr. S.I. like this. You need to prepare more for the next issue, because we have given the role of Wen Changji as the candidate for the 4th issue. The assistant director said, he is the #1 poet in the midsummer period, and he is also known as the poet. Absolutely, one of the representatives of ancient culture. Sci-Fi rubbed his chin, okay, no problem, it just so happens that I can go to myself to collect materials. After both Yin Huang and Ji Chunyuan passed away, the game system did not close her passage to Daxia. Counting the time, the current era of Daxia happened to be the time when Wen Changji was emerging. She can go to Daxia Dynasty to meet this poet. Sci-Fi went to change clothes, and recorded the video of this issue first. The assistant director rubbed his hands, and asked Director Chin in a low voice, hey, Lao Chin, did you hear that teacher Si just said that she was going to find me to collect materials? I heard that she said that when she was filming the female general of Zhenguo, and it seemed to be a success in the end. So, did teacher Si go to psychic again? Director Chin. Do you want to be so skilled? This kind of thing sounds like a joke, okay. After working with Si fucking for so long, Director Chin already knows that she always likes to talk nonsense sometimes. Director Chin didn't want to talk to the assistant director, he waved his hand, each camera seat, each actor prepares. The filming ended successfully today, and Yu Zion came to Daxia Terrace to pick up Si fucking and go home. The assistant director whispered to Director Chin again, see, teacher Si and her boyfriend have a really good relationship, and they reconciled so quickly. Director Chin nodded and sighed, if they make it public, the whole network will explode. And he already knew it in advance, and his heart has a certain ability to bear it. When the time comes, just happily watch others get overly frightened. In the car, Yu Zion helped Si fucking fasten his seat belt. How is today? Very good, Si fucking said, finally I'm going to start filming my favorite poet Wen Changji. Yu Zion raised her eyebrows, on the wall. Of course he knew that Wen Changji was a new star born in the history of Great Xia after he left. Of course Si fucking looked serious, my destiny is Yinhuang, and I will not waver for 100 years. My CP is Yinhuang and Tianxia. I will chase and kill anyone who dismantles my CP to the ends of the earth. Yu Zion seemed to sigh lightly, what do you want to play after you go back? Si Fu tilted his chin, go and see master, he is quite lonely too. After eating, she logged into eternity. At this time, Ghost Valley. The Lord of Ghost Valley is fishing slowly. Master Si fucking came over, sat down behind the Lord of Ghost Valley, and gave him a shoulder tap, did someone visit you just now? Hey, your perception is good. It seems that your cultivation has recovered a lot. The Lord of Gigo nodded slightly, Yunmen came just now and asked me for some poison. Si fucking looked up, poison. Yes, there is one thing I haven't mentioned to you. Yunmen has a big disciple who rebelled more than 1,000 years ago. The Lord of Gigo put away the fishing rod. They took away a lot of magic weapons in Yunmen Lake, and even took away a group of Onmyojis in Yunmen Lake. Fortunately, the three divine swords Tiankanjai Unjian, Tianyuyajan, and Budu Yahan have been kept by Yunmen, otherwise they would have been taken away. These three artifacts are the ones most suitable for Onmyoji. It can also be used by ordinary people. But now, all three instruments are in the real world. Si fucking looked solemn, Sister Yunmen hasn't found the eldest disciple who attacked her in all these years. Yunmen's cultivation is unfathomable, and there are 3,000 Onmyojis under his seat. She is the only NPC among the top 10 vicious NPCs who openly accepts apprentices. Players can also learn from teachers, but there are very few people who can win Yunmen's favor. No, because the voice of the Lord of Ghost Valley paused, and he suddenly realized something was wrong, and was furious. What did you call her just now? Your master and I are of the same generation as her. Si fucking coughed lightly, not guilty at all, master, that's because Sister Yunmen is so pretty. Lord of Ghost Valley. He just knew it. His unrepentant apprentice. The Lord of Ghost Valley said in a bad mood, if you wanted to learn yin yang, would you have to change your master? After all, your master and I are a bad old man. In fact, at his level of cultivation, it is very easy to stay young forever. It's just that he thinks it's more intimate to be a kind old man. How could it be? I will definitely study medicine. Si fucking coaxed his master in a good voice, master, you are the best. You rank first among all my masters. As she spoke, she gave a thumbs up. Wait, the Lord of Ghost Valley caught the loophole in her words, and narrowed his cloudy eyes, all the masters. How many masters do you have? Si fucking. Oops. Standing on multiple boats is really easy to overturn. The Lord of Ghost Valley snorted coldly, since you put me first, I won't argue with you. Si fucking look serious, master, go ahead and say, Sister Yunmen, cough, what is Senior Yunmen looking for from you? It's her big disciple the Lord of Ghost Valley said. Yunmen suddenly found her trail this morning, and has already chased her out. I don't know if we can solve it. Si fucking nodded. What's the name of this big disciple? Maybe I've heard of it. The Eternal Continent has a vast land and abundant resources, and there are countless native NPCs. Not even the Lord of Ghost Valley knows all the NPCs. But since he can become Yunmen's big disciple, his strength must not be low, and he must be an NPC with unique data. Perhaps there is corresponding information in the database of Eternal Academy. The Lord of Ghost Valley thought for a while and said, it seems to be Baiji, or the name given by Yunmen. The second watch is very early. Can I have an early monthly pass? There are still more than 100 votes to reach 8,000. For babies who still have monthly tickets, give Ching Ching a vote, and I will write 3 updates for everyone. After having everything taken away, she returns as a god. Author, Ching Chien. Chapter 781. Si fucking had never heard of this name, and her eyes narrowed slightly. Why did she betray Yunmen's? After Sister Yunmen retires, Yunmen's will be hers. The top 10 dangerous places are not only famous among players, they are also the top forces in the Eternal Continent, a virtual oriental magical continent. Even if it is for power and strength, only by following Yunmen can we get both. Why be a traitor? Who knows? The Lord of Ghost Valley clicked his tongue. Yunmen was so kind to her, and he spent hundreds of thousands of days and nights raising a white-eyed wolf. Si fucking thought thoughtfully, this Bridget should be able to exist without the physical body, right? If she changes her shell frequently, it will be difficult to find her. I don't understand the tricks of Onmyoji. The Lord of Gigo picked up the fish basket, walked into the bamboo house, and said, but if Yunmen goes there in person, she will definitely die. At the same time, somewhere in the Eternal Continent, Baiji was injured by Yunying that day, and Baiji still had not recovered from the serious injury. It's not because her cultivation is not as good as Yunying's, but because she is subject to too many restrictions, and it's more of a backlash. Bridget never regarded anyone on Earth as her rival. After all, she and these mortals are not from the same dimension at all. She has been practicing for thousands of years. No matter how powerful the Onmyojis on Earth are, without the existence of the spiritual energy of heaven and earth, they cannot break through the limit and reach a level where they can survive only by relying on their souls. But it is a pity that when she goes to Earth, let alone use her own strength, even her most basic abilities are sealed, making her no different from ordinary people. Otherwise, with a wave of her hand, people from several continents will cease to exist. There is no need to try to borrow the hands of various people, and there is no need to suffer the anger and humiliation. Bridget's eyes were full of evil. She breathed out slowly, regulating her internal injuries. Suddenly, she seemed to have seen something terrifying, and her expression changed. No, Yunmen actually came here, /. Upon hearing this, the young man's pupils shrank suddenly. He cried out in horror, did you find her? She is really powerful. It is probably because your recovery affected the spiritual energy of the world and made her feel it. She is your master after all. When you left Yunmen's, she was seriously injured and she was raised for 1,000 years. It is impossible not to hate you. Baiji also practiced under Yunmen for 3,000 years. Yunmen treated her as his own daughter and taught her carefully. So at that time, Baiji rebelled and launched a sneak attack. Yunmen had no defense at all and was almost killed by the central pulse. I was too careless. Bridget inevitably panicked. Quick, we have to leave quickly. I am still seriously injured and am no match for her. What are the chances of convincing her? The young man asked quickly. If we can get her to join us, that would be a great thing. It's impossible. It's not like I haven't tried before, Bridget sneered. She is such an upright person and will never allow such a thing to happen. Stop talking nonsense and leave. Boom. The breath of terror rose into the sky at this moment. The space where Bridget was located was instantly sealed. A faint voice sounded, "Where are you going?" In the sky, Yunmen walked down step by step. Every step seemed to be stepping on solid ground, and every step was stepping on Bridget's fear. Baiji shuddered fiercely. Yunmen. Yunmen is the only person she fears in both the eternal continent and the earth. Finally I found you. Yunmen lowered his eyes with a calm expression. Yes, I can escape for so long. It seems that my teaching results are very good. Although I don't know the reason why you betrayed Yunmen's, it is not necessary. You don't know? You must know. Bridget's eyes were red and her voice was hoarse. I have practiced with you for thousands of years, and I have done your best in everything, but you have never planned to give me the artifact. Sacred weapon, Yunmen frowned, but did not explain. Instead, he stabbed Baiji mercilessly. That just tells you that Tiankong Yunjian has found its true owner. Baiji's expression broke into pieces. Yunmen. Besides, you don't have to think about Tianyu Yuzhan and Budu Yahan. I gave them away a few months ago. Yunmen's eyes were cold. I won't let you escape this time. She raised her hand and grasped it with her palm. Buzz. Bridget only felt a strong force coming from her. By the time she was able to control her body, Yunmen had already grabbed her by the throat. Ah! Bridget let out a scream and directly chose to throw away the body she now owned. She was very used to this kind of thing. Every time she goes to Earth and comes back from Earth, she needs to find a new body that can accommodate her soul. Yunmen did not panic because of this, and suddenly smiled. Who gave you the courage to use your soul directly in front of me? Bridget suddenly realized something and blurted out, Master, I. The rest of the words were not spoken. Her consciousness completely fell into nothingness. In front of Yunmen, the ancestor of Onmyoji, killing souls is an easier matter. Yunmen did not let go of Baiji, still holding her. But this is already an empty shell without a soul. Next to him, the young man was already stunned. Bridget died like this? Although Baiji and he are still trying to get the attention of the adult, they are naturally not bad at it, otherwise they would not get the invitation from the adult. How could it be solved by Yunmen so easily? Then he. Yunmen raised her hand again and wrote lightly, let her go. The wind howled, and the two souls completely disappeared in the eternal continent. The next day, in response to the election of the head of the Yu family, the Yin family held a collective meeting of direct members. Sci-fi and Nian Yin also rushed back. This is the selection of the head of the family this time. After the comprehensive consideration of the Supreme Elder, the group of elders, and the head of the family, the steward sent the prepared information to each member of the direct lineage. Please take a look. Everyone opened it. The first heir, Yin Yungzi. The second heir, Nian Yin. The third heir, Sci-fi. Yin Pingshen nodded and said, the next head of the family will be selected in a fair and just manner according to the rules of the family head election. What objections do you have? Nian Yin raised his hand. I have objections. I don't want to be the one. Yin Pingshen tried his best to maintain a smile. Then you have to follow the rules. Nian Yin was very frustrated. He is still making up for the homework assigned by Xia University. I have objections. Yin Yungzi, who had been silent all this time, raised his head with cold eyes. Have you, elders, forgotten that the first rule of inheritance is that the member with the highest blood purity of this generation should be the one to serve? If there are people with the same bloodline, they will vote. Why is there an election? In this generation, she is the only one whose bloodline is S level. So what if Nian Yin's combat power is higher than hers? Her bloodline was always inferior to hers. The same goes for Sci-fi. According to the rules set by the Yin family, she can sit firmly as the head of the family without competing with others. As soon as these words came out, Yin Pingsheng and the group of elders also fell into silence. Yin Yongzi is right, this is indeed the rule that the Yin family has implemented for hundreds of years. Because in the past, in the Yin family, the S-class evolvers had the highest combat effectiveness. But it wasn't until this generation that an accident like Yin Yongzi happened. Yin Pingsheng still preferred Nian Yin to succeed as the head of the family. Supreme Elder, elders, if you violate the rules set by our ancestors because I am a healer, it would be unfair to me, Yin Yongzi said coldly, you are showing partiality. If you insist on doing this, I will ask the leader to judge this matter. Sci-fucking is indeed a good trick and has already won over everyone in the Yin family. But unfortunately, according to the rules, neither Sci-fucking nor Nian Yin is eligible to run for the position of head of the family. Elders, don't be embarrassed. Sci-fucking raised his eyes and said slowly, I didn't say that I'm not S-class. 3 updates. Please give Yunmen some monthly votes, thank you all. If you don't invest at the end of the month, it will expire.